This is a good example. Now I have 4 above and 3 below. Thanks a lot and welcome to this workshop. I'm happy to be here that the museum invited me, because normally when I enter a museum I'm always a bit afraid because there is this glass case, the one with the instruments, and I'm afraid they will put me in there as well. Just because it's not very common that someone plays the Trautonium. I was educated in classical music, playing the classical guitar, and I studied the Renaissance lute. These studies taught me how to tackle all the problems arising when you want to get some music out of anything. Especially in the case of early music, you have similar problems. How do you play the fingering? How does it sound? What's the tempo? You have no idea at first because it was never written down. With the Trautonium, it's just the same. A lot of topics were not noted down because they thought everybody knew all about it anyway. This helped me a lot when I studied the Trautonium because I'm familiar with these problems. That's what makes it accessible to me. I have to admit that I take a very subjective approach. I approach the instrument differently than Oskar Sala, for example. There were 3 key persons for the Trautonium. First, Mr. Paul Hindemith, who in fact started the whole thing. Secondly, Mr. Oskar Sala, his student. And finally, Mr. Trautwein, the inventor. All this happened in Berlin, Germany, at the Music and Radio Lab, the Rundfunkversuchsstelle. The Rundfunkversuchsstelle was part of the conservatory, founded in 1928 or 29. An electrical engineer, Trautwein, was supposed to work with some musicians. He should try to invent and develop something. Paul Hindemith was interested in the project and provided support. Trautwein had various inventions at hand, but Hindemith liked this one best. It's a single-string instrument and Paul Hindemith himself played the viola, so he knew he would be able to get on with it well. So he said, "This invention is great, let's go for it." Paul Hindemith had a student, Oskar. He told him, "Go up there and watch what Trautwein is doing. You are the link between the composer and the electrical engineer." And here's the basic principle. I have a single string and a metal plate underneath. As soon as I make contact with the metal plate, I close a circuit and a sound is created. That was the invention of the Trautonium. This is the principle behind it. That's the actual invention, this A-E-I-O-U. When you first listen to it, you might think, this sounds strange, a bit off-key. Only now, after all these years, I realize what was really new about it, the possibility of extreme filter change, which allows variations in tone color. This was something extreme and very surprising, made possible only by them. They could reproduce A-E-I-O-U in the form of a very distorted sound. This is extreme, indeed, and was something truly shocking back then. Like this. And now the filter changes again. I think this is great, the impression that the music itself is moving, including the frequencies and how it all becomes atonal and off-key. You notice that there are two manuals. The left side is for controlling the lower manual, the right side is for the upper manual. I'll try to demonstrate this with one note. I make contact and there's the note. Electric circuit. Second step, the so-called support keys. The support key is only helping me to know where the tone is actually located. It's inserted like this, so you know white key indicates tone C. You can adapt it to small or large fingers too. You can play it without using them as well. But when you are playing something fast, it's better to have some orientation. You press the key and you get a precise note. But I can also simply glide underneath the key. The decisive part that Oskar Sala invented, however, is the glycerin drum. I'll give you an example for it. I press down the string and the key, then this part is lifted. This is how the volume is created. I would say this is a very special sound, because it runs through this glycerin that's very special, and you can see it's something very delicate and frail. It breaks very easily. It's a great risk, but it's really important to me because I can play with maximum dynamic. Just like with any other instrument, I have the option to articulate to the extreme. And on top, I can turn the volume way down, of course, or I can turn it up. Well, that does the trick. I also play the works. There are some works by Hindemith for orchestra and Trautonium and some by Gensmer. The orchestra, however, has no chance. I'm a lot louder. At least when I'm playing with a powerful PA system. And this was exactly the original plan, that you can play louder too. This is extreme. I will not turn it up to the max now. I can play very brief notes, I can play portato, staccato, whatever. But it has this special sound. Some people don't like that at all. Once you've managed to get into it, it's a total different way of making music, and actually this was the idea behind it, you can say. This was decisive. I will not copy anything with this sound, but I invent a new tone that is moving. We have A, O, something in between the human voice and a violin, I'd say. But it's not about imitation, it was supposed to be something totally new. The next step was the invention of the subharmonic generator. With the subharmonic generator, I can add 3 additional notes to each note. An inverted overtone or harmonic series is the undertone or subharmonic series. And that's why it's called the subharmonic generator. I'll show you. I can add variations to any tone with the aid of the filter. Now we have a tone. And I add the next tone. We have 2 tones, you can hear that very clearly. But it's hard to differentiate between the 2. So I sharpen one of the tones. And the other one I flatten a bit. Now I turn off one of them. We have the sharp higher tone and the lower tone flat. When I'm playing normally, I always have the sharp and the flat tone. That's only 2 tones, but you can do the same with 4 tones too. And on the other side, First the higher tone, and now I add the second one to it. In most cases, the lower manual is the bass. It's subdivided like an organ, hence the term Mixtur. The organ was used as a reference. The lower manual is for the low tones, the upper manual for the high tones. I reduced the echo to a minimum so you can maybe hear it a bit better. Now you can hear it clearly. We have one tone, and now I add the second one. This alone opens up a whole lot of opportunities for experimenting, as you can determine the timbre simply by the sharpness. A live performance is really difficult because you have to switch around a lot. It's really risky. Remember, it's analog technology, you turn it only a little bit too far and the sound is gone. You will not be able to find it again. Great, you had some super sounds and they're all gone. That's due to the tuning. It's not well-tempered, but tempered. It's the overtones, the chords of nature. The thirds are not in tune. The octaves at some point are not in tune anymore either. This creates the characteristic sound of the Trautonium. Sometimes it does sound a bit off-key or out of tune. A given prerequisite they had to compose with and come up with ideas like when do I use a third to create a certain sound and so on. Extremely interesting. I'll show you. That's the first composition for the Mixtur-Trautonium. I switch it on. And then I switch it off again. You can hear it clearly when I play it slowly. When we are dealing with a fast piece, however, you realize immediately, wow, now we're talking. By getting a feel for how to play it, you get into the music a lot easier, because you start to hear it differently. And there's the slow piece and the rondo, an extremely great piece, which to me as a musician is a world of discoveries, something new every time. It takes about 10 minutes. There are very fast passages and effect passages. All of them are based on the composition, making use of these sounds and the ductus, that you have all options of articulations like in any other instrument. At a distance, close by, at a distance again, overlapping sounds and so on. This is what makes such a piece really exciting. That's an important key element of the whole story. We are dealing with tonal free music. Paul Hindemith and the whole school of Paul Hindemith, the fundamentals of the whole Trautonium business, were not into atonal music. As Oskar Sala, Gensmer and Paul Hindemith too put it, while making music, we need to feel something. We are looking for music, a new sonic universe which can be perceived, not explained. Try it out, you won't get the chance to use one anytime soon.